Well, if you're gonna do a knife video, might as well do a handgun video. And we only have a few. Oops. Hang on. You gotta take the ones out of my pocket. Okay, real quick. This gun is not loaded. It is a Ruger 1911. Just think Saving Private Ryan. And it's the gun he shot at the tank. And the tank blew up, and he thought he had an incredible gun, but a bomb actually dropped on the tank. And it's stainless steel. And they're just absolutely fantastic. Piece of American history. John Browning designed this, and he designed a lot of guns. I'm going to push some of these out of the way. And that's in .45 caliber. This is a Springfield Armory, 1911. And this has a target sight on it, but you can use it for anything. Identical to the .45 caliber 1911, except that it's chambered for 9mm. And now the interesting thing is, 9mm has come a long way in the past 10 years ballistically. So the 9mm actually has as much power as the .45 caliber, and slightly less recoil than the .45 caliber, but they're both quite capable. We use these for target shooting for the most part. Home defense gun. This gun is loaded. I'm not going to unload it because I'm just lazy and I don't feel like it. And there we go. There's the strobe light on that will blind you, and also has a constant on light. And this is a Smith & Wesson M&P Pro series, because we are pros. And if you keep your finger off the trigger, everything's fine. And speaking of triggers, this is a trigger. I do my own gunsmithing. Trigger that I added that is just awesome. That's all I can say. The two 1911s, this has a 9-round capacity, this has an 8-round capacity, and this has a 17-round capacity magazine. And we'll just push that back up into place and leave it alone. And Yvonne likes to target shoot. And so these, we have 2 of them. Yvonne, these are, who the heck makes these? Ruger. And they're .22 caliber. Once again, these are triggers that I put in here, and they're just a very short pull, and that would go off. These are empty. And this has a red dot sight. Let's see if I can knock that cover off with one hand. Yeah, get off there. Shake it off, and well, that's actually the front sight, but let me turn this on. Stand by. Okay, and there's the red dot. And whatever you put the red dot on when you're looking through there That's what it'll hit. And there we go. So pretty much a brainless activity. And it just works nicely. And like I said, this one's Yvonne's. The battery's usually dead because she leaves it on for the scope. And this one's mine. And it also has the I don't need to think or have any skill red dot. And so that's that. I pretty much replaced all of the innards in this gun. All the inner mechanism has been replaced with these guns. Well, I've got like a lazy Susan table here. This is neat. I don't have to I'll have to move guns around. These, I thought they were cool. Hey, guess what? It's loaded. Like I said, keep finger off trigger. Nothing's gonna happen. If anyone were here, these guns would definitely be unloaded, but I am alone, and the worst that could happen would be me shooting the television, and that's not a bad thing. Ruger LCP, they're, I think, 9 ounces. It's a .380 caliber, which is actually a short 9mm, and some of them say 9mm Kurs. If you get the German guns, which Kurs means short, and that is not a 9mm or 380. Well, take my word, I have 2 of these. The other one's upstairs in the safe. And this is its bigger brother in 9mm. And I'm going to tell you something. I hate this gun, and I hate this gun, and I hate the other gun that looks like this. Because they're no fun. And they're very snappy when you shoot them. And then there's the old revolver. And swing open, sucker. This is loaded. Like I said, if anyone was here, it would not be loaded. These would not have been brought down loaded, but nobody's here. The door's locked. I've nailed it shut. And this is a Ruger SP-101. And it belonged to my dad, who really never used it. He bought it to threaten patients with who came in trying to steal drugs. But he might have flashed it once or twice, I'm not quite sure. I don't think he ever wanted to shoot anybody. Now let's get our lazy Susan table around, and we'll get to the good stuff. The good stuff. Sig Sauer, the ultimate. Now this one is not loaded. This is mine. I don't really carry it. Yvonne carries hers quite a bit. And we can just do a one-hand check here and see that it's not loaded. And this is not loaded. And what we're looking for is an empty chamber. And there's an empty chamber. This is sort of like a 1911. It's very much like a 1911 in its design. The trigger, the hammer, the safety on it, they're all very much like a 1911. They come apart like a 1911. And like I said, because I have just checked this gun to make certain that it is unloaded. And safety's off. It's just a very short trigger pull, and that's pretty much across the board for all 1911 pistols. That one of the reasons why they're so popular is they just have very short triggers. Something like this gun doesn't have a safety, and this is loaded. It's so light. There are a couple ways I can tell. I can see that there's a bullet in there, so I'm not going to put my finger on the trigger, but you would have to pull this trigger back all the way to here for this gun to go off, and that's one of the reasons it doesn't have a safety. But we always treat them like they're loaded, and we don't put our fingers on the trigger until we're ready to shoot. And the gun's pointed at something that we'd like to shoot at. This is Yvonne's Sig Sauer P238. It's the same as this one. His and hers. The safety's on. The hammer's back and locked. The safety not only locks the trigger, but it also locks the hammer back. I'm going to take the safety off, and you might, if I get the lighting right, you can see how it just pushed that hammer back, and so it locks the hammer. It also locks the trigger. Another light gun, I think loaded. This is probably 13 ounces, 14 ounces. Not very big. And this is my carry gun. It's also locked, it's loaded. The safety is on. And it's the same pistol as this, it's just a 9mm. And the safety's on both sides. And that's that. That's our collection of pistols. Oops! Like Popeye Doyle, I have an ankle carry, and I do use it if we're going on road trips because it's hard to reach into a holster or a pocket if I'm getting carjacked. This tiny little thing, this is loaded. It's the safety's on. This is a Beretta 25 caliber, and it has a tip-up barrel. And that was the bullet falling onto the ground, and that's the tiny little bullet that it uses. This was James Bond's first gun. In the first 2 or 3 James Bond novels, he carried a Beretta 25. And someone wrote to Ian Fleming, a major in the British Army, and he said that the Beretta 25 was a lady's gun, and that James Bond should carry a .357 Magnum. And Ian Fleming said, well, let's see what we can do. And in the movie Dr. No, in the beginning of the movie, they took James Bond's Beretta 25 away from him and gave him a Walther PPK. He tried to take, and Q, or M, yeah, M was the guy in charge. M put the Beretta 25 on his desk, and as James Bond was leaving, he tried to slip the Beretta 25 back into his pocket, and this was Sean Connery, and Q grabbed it back and said, no, no, no. So you put the bullet in here, close it up, and you're ready to go. And that's that. A little bit of James Bond history.